One base. That's all it takes. A single adenine where there should be a thymine, in the hemoglobin gene, and red blood cells collapse into crescents. Sickle cell disease. One error in 3 billion letters. One bit. That's all it takes in a computer too. A single zero becomes a one. From cosmic radiation, electrical noise, thermal fluctuation, and the program crashes. One error, 2 catastrophes. Same problem, same solution. This is the hidden link, where we find the invisible connections between things that shouldn't be connected. Right now, inside every cell of your body, a war is being fought. Your DNA sustains 10,000 to 100,000 lesions every single day. Oxidative damage, spontaneous depurination, deamination, UV radiation fusing adjacent bases together, replication errors. Without repair, your genome would be unreadable within hours. But you are not dead. How? Layer 1. DNA polymerase doesn't just build new DNA, it checks its own work. Arthur Kornberg discovered this enzyme in 1956. Nobel Prize 1959. The polymerase has a built-in proofreading domain, a 3' to 5' exonuclease that catches misincorporated bases immediately after insertion, detects the error, reverses, excises, resynthesizes. Raw error rate, 1 in 10,000. After proofreading, 1 in 10 million. But 1 in 10 million isn't good enough. Your genome is 3 billion base pairs. At that rate, you'd accumulate 300 errors per cell division. So there's a second layer, and a third, and a fourth. In 2015, the Nobel Prize in Chemistry was awarded to 3 scientists. Thomas Lindahl, base excision repair. Paul Modrich, mismatch repair. Aziz Sanchar, nucleotide excision repair. 3 men, 3 independently discovered repair pathways. One principle: errors in DNA must be found and fixed, layer after layer, until the message is clean. Modrich showed that after replication, the mismatch repair system scans the new strand for errors the polymerase missed. Mut-S recognizes the mismatch. Mut-L coordinates the response. The error is excised and resynthesized. Error rate drops to 1 in a billion. Lindahl discovered that DNA decays spontaneously, 5,000 depurinations per cell per day, and mapped the base excision repair pathway that fixes 20,000 lesions daily. Sanchar mapped nucleotide excision repair, the system that removes UV damage. When ultraviolet light fuses adjacent thymine bases into dimers, NER cuts out an entire block of 24 to 32 nucleotides and rebuilds it from scratch. But the error correction doesn't stop at repair enzymes. It's built into the code itself. In 1966, Francis Crick proposed the Wobble hypothesis. The genetic code uses 64 codons to encode only 20 amino acids. That's massive redundancy. And most of the redundancy is concentrated at the 3rd codon position, the Wobble position. A mutation at the 3rd position usually changes the codon but not the amino acid. GCU, GCC, GCA, GCG. All 4 encode alanine. The Wobble position absorbs errors. In 1998, Stephen Freeland and Lawrence Hurst tested 1 million randomly generated genetic codes with the same degeneracy structure. Only about 1 in a million was better at minimizing the effects of point mutations than the actual code. The genetic code isn't a frozen accident, it's an error-correcting code, optimized by natural selection over billions of years. And then there are the circuits. Uri Alon at the Weizmann Institute discovered that gene regulatory networks are built from recurring circuit patterns, network motifs. Negative autoregulation, a gene that represses itself, speeds response time fivefold and reduces noise. The coherent feed-forward loop, a three-gene circuit that responds only to sustained signals, filtering out transient noise. These aren't random wiring, they're error correction circuits, biological noise filters. Now we cross the divide. Different century, different world, same problem. In 1948, Claude Shannon, a 32-year-old mathematician at Bell Labs, published A Mathematical Theory of Communication. He defined information in bits. He defined channel capacity, the maximum rate at which a noisy channel can carry reliable information. And then he proved something extraordinary. Shannon's noisy channel coding theorem. If your transmission rate is below the channel's capacity, then error-free communication is possible, even over a noisy channel. Not approximately, not mostly, error-free. The condition? Redundancy. Add enough structured redundancy to the message, and you can defeat any level of noise. Shannon proved it mathematically. But he didn't build the code. That fell to a man who was tired of losing his weekends. Richard Hamming worked at Bell Labs in the 1940s. He ran batch jobs on the Model 5 computer over weekends. The machine could detect errors, it had parity checks. But every time a single bit flipped, the job crashed. Monday morning, no results. Hamming's question was simple. If the machine can detect an error, why can't it correct it? In 1950, Hamming published his answer, the Hamming 7-4 code. Take 4 data bits, add 3 parity check bits, each covering a different overlapping subset of the data. If any single bit flips, the pattern of parity failures pinpoints the exact position of the error. Flip it back, corrected. 3 redundant bits for 4 data bits. That's the cost of error correction. And here is where the worlds collide. Hamming's code, 3 parity bits per 4 data bits, about 43% overhead. Crick's genetic code, approximately 1.68 bits of redundancy per 6 total bits per codon, about 28% overhead. Different ratios, but the same principle. Controlled redundancy for error tolerance. Biology discovered it 3.5 billion years ago. Hamming discovered it in 1950. In 1960, Irving Reed and Gustav Solomon published a code that corrects not just single errors, but bursts of consecutive errors. Reed-Solomon codes operate on blocks of symbols. A badly scratched CD, a gouge 2.5 millimeters long, wiping out 4,000 consecutive audio samples, plays perfectly. QR codes remain readable when 1/3 of the image is damaged. The Voyager probes, 20 billion kilometers from Earth, transmitted data almost error-free using Reed-Solomon. And there's the parallel. UV radiation creates thymine dimers, consecutive damaged bases on the same strand. A burst of errors. Nucleotide excision repair cuts out an entire block of 24 to 32 nucleotides and rebuilds it. Block-level repair for consecutive errors. Reed-Solomon on a CD, NER on a chromosome. Same principle, same math. In 1993, Claude stunned the world with turbo codes. two encoders feeding each other through iterative decoding. Each decoder improves the other's estimates, pass after pass, converging toward the correct message. Within 0.7 decibels of Shannon's theoretical limit. Multi-pass iterative correction. Polymerase proofreading, then mismatch repair, then base excision repair, then nucleotide excision repair, each layer catching what the previous missed. Biology has been running turbo codes for 3 billion years. Now, the table. Parity bits. Redundant encoding for error tolerance. Wobble-based degeneracy. 64 codons for 20 amino acids. Same principle. Hamming distance. The minimum number of bits that must differ between valid code words. Codon distance. Chemically similar amino acids assigned to similar codons, maximizing the mutational distance between functionally different outcomes. Single error correction. Hamming detects and corrects one flipped bit. DNA polymerase proofreading. Catches and corrects one misincorporated base. Reed-Solomon burst correction. Recovers a block of consecutive corrupted symbols. Nucleotide excision repair. Excises and rebuilds a block of consecutive damaged nucleotides. Checksums. A compact integrity check at defined processing stages. Cell cycle checkpoints. G1/S, G2/M. Verify DNA integrity before allowing replication or division. Iterative decoding. Turbo codes passing soft information between decoders. Multi-layer DNA repair. Each pathway passing uncaught errors to the next. Feed-forward error correction. Respond only to signals that persist above threshold. Feed-forward loops. Elon's coherent type 1 FFL responds only to sustained activation, filtering transient noise. Negative feedback in amplifiers. Automatic gain control, stabilizing signal amplitude. Negative autoregulation in gene networks. A transcription factor repressing its own gene to reduce cellular noise. And then, the most striking parallel of all. In networking, when a packet fails its checksum, it's not repaired, it's discarded. Retransmission requested. In your body, when DNA damage is irreparable, p53 activates. The cell doesn't attempt further correction. It self-destructs. Apoptosis. Programmed death. The corrupted packet is discarded. Neighboring cells divide to replace it. Same logic, same architecture. And at the deepest level, Shannon and Eigen. In 1948, Shannon proved that reliable communication requires a transmission rate below channel capacity. In 1971, Manfred Eigen proved that reliable genome replication requires a mutation rate below the error catastrophe threshold. Same theorem, same math. Maximum genome length is inversely proportional to mutation rate, just as maximum data rate is inversely proportional to channel noise. RNA viruses with mutation rates around 10 to the -4 typically range from 7 to 15,000 bases, with coronaviruses reaching 30,000, only because they evolved their own proofreading exonuclease. DNA organisms, with error correction pushing rates to 10 to the -10, maintain genomes of billions of bases. Shannon's limit and Eigen's limit are the same limit. The objections are real, and they deserve honest treatment. First, This is analogy, not mechanism. Shared mathematics does not mean shared causation. Convergent solutions to the same problem, noisy information channels, naturally produce similar structures. That's convergent engineering, not evidence of design or deeper unity. Second, biological error correction evolved through undirected natural selection over billions of years. It was not designed. The language of circuits and motifs is useful, but potentially misleading. Third, DNA repair operates through chemistry, enzyme-substrate binding, conformational changes, catalysis. Engineering codes are abstract algebra, syndrome computation, polynomial division, matrix operations. The substrates couldn't be more different. Fourth, Francis Crick himself in 1968 suggested the genetic code might be partly a frozen accident. Once established, any change would be catastrophic. Fifth, Uri Alon's network motifs serve multiple functions. Noise reduction is just one. Negative autoregulation also speeds response time and enables homeostasis. Assigning a single engineering function oversimplifies biology. And sixth, digital codes are exact and deterministic. Biology is stochastic. Gene expression is inherently noisy. A Hamming code flips a bit back to exactly the right value. A DNA repair enzyme operates probabilistically. All valid. And here is the response. The math doesn't care about the substrate. The principle, redundancy defeats noise, is a mathematical truth independent of whether it's implemented in enzymes or transistors. Convergent solutions confirm the universality of the principle, not its triviality. The genetic code is optimized. Freeland and Hurst proved it quantitatively. And Eigen's error catastrophe is Shannon's limit, not by analogy, but by mathematical identity. 3.5 billion years ago, the first cells faced the problem of noisy replication. They evolved an answer: redundancy, Wobble bases, proofreading enzymes, multi-layer repair, feedback circuits, checkpoints that discard the irreparable. In 1950, Richard Hamming faced the same problem: noisy data storage, and invented the same answer: parity bits, single error correction, iterative decoding, block repair, checksums that discard the corrupted. Same math, different engineers. One had 4 billion years and the pressure of extinction. The other had a bad weekend and a broken batch job. Both arrived at the same equation. Both systems solve the same equation. Redundancy defeats noise. Hidden link. Theories of anything.